Alrighty, today we have a K770 Husqvarna demo saw. These saws are generally designed for either horizontal or vertical cutting. This particular one is going to be a two-stroke mixed fuel variant. The saw has a lot of neat options on it, but I'm going to start you off today with just going through the general purpose of the saw, how to use the saw, change your blades out, different water applications and whatnot. Today we're using an Ultra Value Virginia Braces blade that we've been selling for years. Great quality blade for the price. To put a blade onto one of these, what you're going to do is kick it over to the side. You do have a wrench holder right here. Bring that wrench holder over. Loosen your nut. Remove your bolt and your washer face. One neat thing these saws have that most don't is it has a flip arbor on here. This arbor is set up right now for a 1-inch hole, but you can also remove it just by pulling it off, and you have a 20mm arbor on the other side, which is really handy, especially when you get into your abrasive blades that don't have center hole punch outs. Our blade we are using right now does have a punch out, but it's got the 20mm in there, so we'll just go ahead and leave it at 20. Coming down, make sure you do seat that all the way down onto the arbor so that the blade is centered. Put your washer back on place, and you'll see it is slotted on two different sides, so it locks down nice and tight. And go ahead and tighten your nut down by hand. Once you get it down that tension, go ahead and bring your wrench back to it. Tighten it down. I like to actually hold my wrench and twist my blade. I've always found you can get a little bit tighter doing it that way. You really want to get that tight. These things are turning at such a high RPM, they can come loose. One thing that you don't have to technically know for rental, but it is nice to know in service, is the tensioning system on this side. I'm not going to go into it because we do send out all of our saws properly tensioned beforehand. To start this machine, you have an on-off switch right over here. That's off, that's on. Throttle control with safety on top. Manual choke. Pull out for choke on, push in for choke off. Primer bubble right here. And a compression release right here that you need to push in on. So to start this saw, we're going to start off by making sure it's on. Pull out on our choke. And we may have to prime this a couple extra times just because it is a new saw. And the next question is whether it's new enough it even has fuel in it. It doesn't. So I'm going to run you through the startup procedure on this, but I'm not actually going to start it. Press in on your decompress here is your next step. Come over. I like to put either my knee down on the handle here, or you can bring your foot over and put it in, but it is important that you have 2 points of contact pressing down on the saw so it doesn't jump up on you. Take your handle here, and you want nice, short, fast strokes. Just like that. All of our saws are going to start on the 2nd to 4th pull. Once it does start, you're going to come down, shut your choke off, and throttle the machine up. And you kind of give it a couple pumps, that way you don't choke it out too awful fast. Once it comes up to high RPM, you can come off and you're ready to go. Now with the machine in the off position, I'm going to show you the water hookup in case you want to use it for wet hookup, which is definitely a good idea. Our blades are wet or dry, but they're going to have a lot more life if you use them wet. Down here you have just a standard 3/4 inch garden hose coarse thread with a gasket in there to keep it from leaking on you. It's a quick connect on the other side. You can pull back just like that to remove in case you have a quick connect hose setup, or if you're using a mobile stationary tank for lubrication instead of a continuous feed from the city or pump. To put it back on, just pull back, slide in, and lock. Always pull out a little bit on it to make sure it is in place. Up here on a Husqvarna, their water cock system is a little bit different than most people. I'll show you. Right here we have a water drop with a line cross through it for off. And up here we have water drops, which would signify full on. For some reason, those logos actually aren't accurate. Full on is diagonal in the middle right here. If you go either direction, it will shut your water off. Don't know why that is. It's just how it always has been on a Husqvarna. Thank you for listening today. If you have any further questions, please contact ABZ Rental.